You want a rack like this, but there's only one thing holding you back: the cost. You know the missus won't be happy if you spend £5,000 on Eurorack when the boxing in the kitchen ain't finished and you need a carpet on the stairs. So how can those who are making a normal living justify the equivalent price of a new kitchen on a box full of flashing lights hidden behind a load of spaghetti? I suppose that's what the kitchen is, to be honest, but I meant modular. Here's my friggin' 2 cents on the matter. Firstly, I think you need to think about what it is that you're actually paying for here. It's a bespoke instrument. Now for me, first and foremost, I'm a guitarist. Maybe you play an instrument already too. If you think about the high-end electric guitars, you can pay a fortune. And then you need an amp, cables, you might want a load of pedals to make it sound a certain way. However, there are cheaper entry points, and you don't have to go all in straight away. Modular's no different, and just like the guitar, maybe you just need to go get a few basics to get you started. But no matter what your entry point, it's still a bespoke instrument. Again, if you were to have a guitar made to your specifications, it would be pretty spenny, to be fair. And even with the added expense, there would still be a lot of restrictions, such as maybe the timbre that'll work to make out of, the pickups, the tonality, whatever it is. With modular, we only really have the cost restriction in that respect, because the functionality, with an ever-growing amount of modules, it's pretty limitless and very customizable. Even with the most high-end, off-the-shelf synths, you're still often limited to the imagination of those who designed it. For me, space is another thing that is often the most premium consideration in the household. By consolidating all elements of the music-making process into one pretty portable box, it's a bit of a game changer for me, to be honest. It allows me to have a little corner of the house where I can get away from it all and make music, even without having to come to the studio. And then I can just hit one switch and it's all turned off and away. And when I do get a bit of time to just sit and use it, the effects on my well-being are amazing, and I can't really put a price on that. I can only really speak anecdotally to this, but it really helps relieve stress of work and just day-to-day life. Everyone I speak to agrees that the process of patching and exploration just makes them ultimately feel better. And you can't really do any damage with patching, so you can just explore for hours with very little worries. Not to mention the music we often make itself can be a bit of a remedy to help us feel better and just forget about work, even just for a little while. Nothing else really achieves that for me. And again, you can't really put a price on that. Speaking of work, another great thing is how it gets us out of the box, unless you count obviously the modular shape as a little box, and then you're still staring at boxes, but I mean screens. We spend our life looking at screens, and we all know that it ain't healthy for us. It's often unavoidable, and many of us will use screens day to day at work, keeping up to date with things that are happening around us, or just for communication, things like that. So when it comes to music, working outside the DAW is often a nice feeling. You can go completely outside if you want with this format, which I don't do, but I could if I wanted to, and I want to be out of it as much as possible, especially in the writing stages. Fair enough, I like to mix in there, and again, it helps me reduce that time spent in there, and the writing process is far more enjoyable when I just utilise the modular. When you are writing, it can help you with sound design, and it can help you find types of synthesis that work best for you, that you maybe wouldn't have worked with. I wouldn't have worked with wavetable synthesis, for an example, if I was just using the DAW, but with modular, it's my go-to really, especially for pads, and it does excel at that. It's an amazing tool for exploration and experimentation, and it's almost a writing partner at times that takes you to musical places that you wouldn't have ventured to without it. You can quickly employ mathematical principles if you're a big nerd into your workflow, which I wouldn't have even known about if not for buying this box. I suppose it's surreptitiously made me smarter, the cheeky little blighter. Once you set up and you patch it up, it saves time. Now this one, people will argue with because they'll tell me it's quicker to do stuff in the DAW, and it maybe is. You're friggin' rubbish at patching. I can only speak to my workflow, I suppose, but I can do things in a couple of cables that would be far more convoluted in the box. And time is friggin' money, people. And when I like to write a lot, I need to make my process as streamlined as possible, and I just feel like the modular does that. Also, I mean, you can't put a price on looking friggin' cool, can you? I mean, look. So you spent all that money now, but you can't even make proper music, I hear the naysayers scream. Well, to find out why they're wrong, you'll need to watch this video next, wherever the frig it is.